He will be joining us today because he's scared of the wind.
The wind is winding today.
I love your dog, Roddy. I love your dog and his giant antenna-like ears and his easily frightened disposition.
He's afraid of everything.
He doesn't like light on the wall either, does he?
No, he does not like reflected light. He hates foil.
He's just a sensitive king.
Yeah, you guys can't. He's like perfectly angled so where you can't see him just staring at me. But...
Oh no, I can see him now. Oh.
I'll send you pictures. They're thriving and loud.
Brilliant.
Everybody, welcome to A Little Too Quiet. It's the Ferndale Library Podcast. It's brought to you by the Friends of the Ferndale Library. I'm Jeff, joined as always by Mary Graham.
Hi.
Hey, Emma's back.
Hi.
And that's Roddy over there.
Hello.
And Lox is over there too somewhere. And we're talking about romance again. How's everybody doing? Oh yeah, I wanted to hear what you guys have been reading lately when it comes to romance, if anything at all. Roddy, you've been away from romance, but you're still an expert in the field.
Let me see if I read anything romantic last
You're
month.
okay.
I have to check.
Emma, though, has maybe not. Have you read anything lately?
Yeah, I have.
What do you got?
Recently, for another library book club.
I was just leaving ellipses for you to just take over. You can interrupt me. I'm not going anywhere.
Will do.
Just interrupt.
I just read The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava, which was published in 2024, and this is going to blow your minds, dear listener, is the first traditionally published Indigenous rom-com.
Oh, wow.
That took so long.
Yeah.
It took so long. It wasn't my favorite, but that was just because she lied a lot, and
The main character?
Yeah, the lies unraveled, which creates the suspense and the tension, but it just stressed me out because I was like, girl, stop. But it was still fun, good. Like, I liked the main characters. I liked the discussion of being Indigenous in the workforce and trying to get a job, because the premise is she's trying to get a job as an accountant, and she keeps applying. And on like the applications, it asks like, what is your ethnicity or race, whatever. And she puts Native, but one time she just says she's white, and she gets the job. So she's like, that's the first big lie. She's half white though. So it's not like a total lie. So she's like, it's not that bad. And then the lies start to continue. I also read Cash, which was cowboy romance.
Okay.
It's like big city girl inherits her dad's ranch, but she's been in Dallas for too long, and then the cowboy running the ranch is like, this fancy girl, like she's not gonna know what to do, and then oh boy, they ride a horse together. It goes crazy.
All right.
And then I read, perfect for today's topic of romantasy, I read probably my favorite book of the year thus far, This Princess Kills Monsters by Rai Herman. It was so lovely, and it felt like a hug. It's like all the fairy tales smushed into one book, but they kind of like make fun of it because they're like, you have to stay away from spinning wheels. They're dangerous. And they're all like, why? And they're like, because you could get put to sleep. And they're like, where are you living that's normal? And so the author, I believe, is trans. The main love interest is trans. So it's very,
Wow.
it covers so much. And it's just so witty. It's not too heavy on the romance, but the romance is still there.
Nice.
I didn't think I had read that much romance. I only read 4 books last month, which is not a lot for me. So I'm kind of surprised.
Whoa.
Well, I just started A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping.
We just got our copy in.
And when I say I just started it, I mean I started it before on my lunch break today.
Oh, wow.
And it is set in the same universe. It's by Sangu Mandana, it is set in the same universe as the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which Roddy is grinning because that was one of my favorite books the year that I read it, which I think was 2 years ago. I'm very excited for Witch's Guide because it actually came out last month or maybe in July, and I took a quick look at it and I was like, you know what, this is such a fall book. It's going to be so pleasant. Like, I am often dangling a book in front of me and saying it's cozy often isn't enough to get me. I'm like, okay, but like, is it interesting? But I think that this author does such a fantastic job with the emotions of the premises that she comes up with. So the point is not just like, oh, a magical bed and breakfast. It's like a magical bread and breakfast, and it's going to tear your heart out a little bit. It opens with the witch in the center of it lost her magic when she was 15 years old because she resurrected her great aunt from the dead. And it was such a demanding spell that it basically drained her of all of her magic. This isn't a spoiler. This happens in the first chapter. But by the end of that first chapter, I was like, I completely understand why she did that, because she loves her great aunt so much. And I love her great aunt too. And it's only been one chapter and I need nothing to happen to Aunt Jasmine. And it's only been one chapter. That's really, really impressive, I think.
Is she a ghost, or is she like back in human
She's back.
body? Like
She's back. It's like CPR resuscitation, except she was dead. Yeah. So that's what I just started. Frankly, it's my entire weekend's plans is just reading this book. So I'm recommending it in advance, and I'm definitely recommending the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches to everyone. I'm very picky about my witch books because, again, many of them I'm like, we just put the veneer of practical magic over it. And I want substance. Mm-hmm. So I feel about her the same way as I feel about Talia Hibbert and the Brown Sisters books. And if you want another bed and breakfast one, Act Your Age, Eve Brown. It's Act Your Age, right?
It is Act Your Age.
Is another truly incredible bed and breakfast with like the most deeply felt emotions. So that's where I am
Your
right now.
subgenre of romance bed and breakfast setting.
Bed and breakfast for sure. I am also in the middle of A Lady Awakened by Cecilia Grant, which is one of the best historicals I've read in ages. And my friend Maya, who makes not literal appearances on this podcast, but many mention appearances because she has excellent taste in romance, was the one who talked up Cecilia Grant's books to me. And it appears that Cecilia Grant wrote 3 extremely well-regarded romance novels back circa 2014 and appears to have noped off out of publishing after that. And I'm kind of like, no, Queen, come back. We need you more than ever. But the premise of A Lady Awakened is that a young woman in, I'm pretty sure it is the Regency, is out in her country house and she's widowed suddenly. Her much older husband dies. And his brother, who's supposed to take over the estate, is the quite horrible sort of person who enjoys assaulting the housemates. And so the solicitor is basically like, obviously this brother will inherit unless, main character, you happen to be pregnant. And she's like, well, gosh, it's going to take another month before we find out if that's true or not, isn't it? And then she, which is a lie, she knows she's not. So she finds basically the hot young nobleman who lives next door. And she's like, hello.
As one does.
We need to have sex daily for the next month in the hopes that I can get pregnant, lie, and save all of my staff from being assaulted by my terrible ex-brother-in-law.
What did you say the title of that book was?
A Lady Awakened.
Wow.
And it is so good. I'm halfway through it.
That sounds fantastic. Is it the first in the...
Yeah, that's the first in the trilogy.
Amazing.
So I'm very happy that I have 2 others in the same universe that come after it.
Do I want to start it and then be heartbroken because she noped off into existence?
It's going to be worth it, Emma.
That's fine with me. I'm going to place that right now.
Excellent.
Cecilia Grant, right? Yep. Old place. Jeff is right. I haven't read a lot of romance recently. I think Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping and Real by Kennedy Ryan were the last 2 romances I've read. I hilariously enough am as far away from romance as one could possibly be because I'm currently reading The Reformatory by Tanetta Reeve Dew, which is horrifying.
Wow.
So, Jeff, when you're ready to do a horror podcast, I actually have so much material for you now. It's a little crazy.
Next week.
I am starting to get, this is mostly film, but I'm lightly starting to dip my toe into horror.
No.
It's 100% the influence of my partner, who's very good at recommending things I'm actually going to like. So when we first met, he was like, have you watched Ravenous? You've got to watch Ravenous. And I was like, no, and I don't do cannibalism. And he was like, even when it's a metaphor for Manifest Destiny, and it's also just a really good historical film with black comedy, but there happen to be cannibals in it. And I was like, well, now you've intrigued me. We have to watch it when it's light outside, but fine, I guess. It was so good. 10 minutes into this film, I was like, you were right. You were right, and I take it back. You were right.
You're so brave.
And so, and there's, so now we've got, it's us slowly negotiating a list of things we're going to watch. Cause his like second favorite film ever is Rosemary's Baby. And I was like, I'm not doing that one. That is no, but
I watched that movie when I was far too young too, and let me tell you, that left a lasting impression. Another series I've been reading is the Gravekeeper series by Darcy Coates, which is primarily like mystery horror situation, but I am not reading it for that. I'm reading it for the romantic subplot that I'm waiting to pay off.
I'm listening.
So it's definitely not like the scariest books I've ever read or anything like that, but I wouldn't call it like cozy in any way, shape, or form. But long story short, this woman wakes up in a forest being chased, has no memories of herself beyond her name, and realizes that she can see and somewhat communicate with ghosts. That is the basic premise of the story by Darcy Coates. So yeah, but I'm sorry to take us down this like horror like wormhole. There was also a kind of romantic subplot in Blood Over Brighthaven.
Oh, I need to read that.
And that book broke my heart in the best way possible. That was an excellent book. So, listener, if you're listening, if you want some like subplots, there you go. But
you know what? Sometimes I find a book with a romantic subplot almost more swoony than a dedicated romance novel.
Is kind of
and that's real. I'm sorry.
This is kind of like a perfect segue into the romantasy talk,
It
because
really
we can
is.
talk about the difference between romantasy and then fantasy with romance.
Or
Yes.
even what all right, get ready for my old woman voice. When I started reading romance in 2014, we just called it fantasy romance. Like,
Yeah.
But it needs a cute, fun name that's catchy.
no, it doesn't, Emma.
I have some very strong opinions on the romantasy.
I do have to say, for like folks who don't know, Emma, you are very online. I don't say that disparagingly. You are simply
I was
very.
gonna say, what a call out.
No, it's not a call out. It's simply
You
a
know
statement
what's
of fact.
going on.
I do
You know
know
what's
I mean
going
that
on
in a good way.
in a way that I have no idea what's happening. It filters to me through you. Like, you are my news source because I am not downloading the Clock app. I have never downloaded the Clock app. I will not be on the TikTok.
And that's okay. I'm willing to do the work.
That's
because
it's you're
do
reporting.
I do enjoy the Clock app.
You're embedded.
I do enjoy the photo app. I enjoy most of the social media.
I have to admit, the photo app is the only app that I'm currently like somewhat active on for like a multitude of like writers collective reasons mostly. So the Clock app has not seen me in months and probably won't for a while unless people keep sending me super bad edits, in which case we will have something else to talk about.
But here's the thing. I'm not on TikTok, but I still watch the peer-reviewed stuff that gets sent to me. I don't need a TikTok account.
Exactly.
People
It
peer-review
filters
things.
to you.
It filters.
That's what I do for my partner. He's a special guy in which he watches YouTube shorts. That's his preferred format, which is interesting, and we all judge him for it, but we love him still. But I make him watch TikTok still because
Mine watches YouTube longs.
he does that too.
Their short thing is really ridiculous.
But
too.
honestly, I've been on Bookstagram, so the book niche corner of Instagram, since 2019. I know a thing or two because I've seen.
And you've seen. I was gonna say.
I've seen.
You have 1,000.
So much.
I thought
You were there when the magic was written. Mhm.
Yeah, don't
Very
cite the deep
Aslan,
magic to
yeah.
me. Which I mean, and I say this as someone who's lurked on Tumblr, and then been active on Tumblr since an undisclosed date that I am not telling you all. I get a dead eye 1,000-yard stare about the things I've seen. And even that, at least the things I've seen, people don't put like their real names attached to it. Out there on the Bookstagram, people often
they often put out their opinions with their full chest.
Oh,
full
yeah.
name,
and their full
home
name and
address.
face. Yeah.
I have seen some polarizing thoughts on the Bookstagram, and I look at them and I laugh, and then I keep going. But to kind of like go back to the romantasy topic, though I have slowly but surely started to divest from certain online spaces, fantasy romance, romantasy is really taking over the genre,
Yeah.
for better or for worse. And I have opinions on both. Emma, you brought up a great point with like actual fantasy romance versus fantasy with a strong romantic subplot. And the book that immediately came to mind for me was Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher.
T. Kingfisher does it so well.
my shelf right now. I'm so excited.
I'm obsessed with that.
love that
person.
book. I went back and forth from the physical and the like audiobook. And I enjoyed that book so much because if you know anything about T. Kingfisher, you know that that's first things first, a pen name. But you also know that the author, she also uses that pen name to write a lot of horror.
Yeah.
So I'm reading this fantasy by her, and I've read her horror books already. And she infused this moment that was not graphic whatsoever, but just like, it was a moment in the book that I was like, this is actually scarier than almost most of what I've read in your horror books. I want to see inside your head, but also you were giving me a fantastic romance. So this is fine. She came up with these creatures. I can't say more than that. I was like, ugh, it was gross.
That's how I feel about Catherine Arden, who wrote the Winter Night trilogy,
oh my God,
which is one of my favorite examples. I wouldn't even call the romantic subplot in that strong, but I'm obsessed with it. And Catherine Arden, who also writes horror for children, actually, when kids come in and say to me, I want scary book, I say, here is Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. And they come back and they say, thank you, where is the second one? And Catherine Arden writes these really creepy scenes, with these like undead creatures from Russian folklore. She truly, and I'm also reading The Warm Hands of Ghosts right now, which is about World War I. And
thank you.
Very, very scary in its own like. She's so good, but I wonder what it is about, because it doesn't surprise me that people who are really good at writing scary things are also really good at writing romance that feels intense and real, even when it is not the majority of the airtime of the book.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there is just to be very cliche for a moment, there is a part of like real life romance and real life intimacy that is in fact scary. And if an author can tap into the intensity of like scary, I think that they can tap into the intensity of like intimacy and falling in love. And that's why I find myself, when we were like, oh, we're going to talk about romantasy, I was like, I don't know what I'm really going to talk about, because to be honest with you, romantasy is kind of like I have Kimberly Lemming, I have Gina Showalter series that I read when I was too young to be reading it. And I think I have...
See, Roddy, I got you.
Yeah. But I can do fantasy with a romantic subplot. And I think I actually prefer fantasy with a romantic subplot for reasons I'll get to later. But I'm going to let Emma, because I know she's got this.
And I feel like before we let Emma do her, I just know it's like, I feel like we're in this like nice kind of like gradation of like, Roddy basically doesn't read this at all. I have read A Court of Thorns and Roses, but just the first one.
Okay.
And way back before it blew up.
Oh, 100%.
Way back, like shortly after.
I'm touching on that.
Shortly after it got published. And I have a lot of opinions that I'll get into later about moral panics over what women read, and, you know, women's sexuality in fiction, and women's power fantasies, and then also the quality of books and the way that they have taken over publishing. But Emma, on to you.
Okay. So that brings me to a good point. When you talk about Romantasy, we have to talk, unfortunately, about Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros.
Unfortunately.
They are two of the powerhouses of the industry. Sarah J. Maas wrote A Court of Thorns and Roses. In the 2014s, I read them all as the original trilogy. They're not even that smutty. I'm pretty sure.
Here's the thing.
There's like a sex scene in the second one, maybe two.
There is sex in the first one because I picked it up. That was at the very beginning of my like romance novel reading days.
But I don't think it's graphic.
No, well, so I was promised. It's like, here's the thing. I remember listening to Smart Podcast Trashy Books, which is the podcast for Smart Bitches Trashy Books, one of the best romance blogs on the internet.
Yes.
And I remember it had come out fairly recently, and the host was like, oh, people are clutching their pearls over this. And that was because it was a YA book. It was shelved with YA, and it had relatively explicit sex in it. And the fastest way for me, when people are like, oh my God, this book, there's so much sex in it, I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. Where?
Yeah.
Can I point me to it? And I read it and I was like, oh, you guys need better smut than this.
No, exactly. And that's the thing when everybody's like, the fairy smut. I'm like, girl,
it's not even hot.
It doesn't come till the orange book, the Court of Silver Flames. However, with Rebecca Yarros as well, it's Red Queen fan fiction. I'm going to say that right now. That's just
And
for me.
what is Red Queen?
Red Queen is a YA series. That's one of my favorite things by Victoria Aveyard. It's about this girl who's a thief, has lightning powers that she finds out in the middle of this like Queen's Trill. And basically this girl in Fourth Wing goes to this like war school, finds out she has lightning powers. She has the same hair thing. The ending's the same.
And there's dragons.
There's no dragons in Red Queen.
But in Fourth Wing, there's dragons and misused Gaelic.
Yes. And that's the other thing. Rebecca Yarros admitted to not looking it up. And this is where I'm getting at. The two most prominent women in Romantasy at this time have so many issues. However, they have sparked the Romantasy genre in which we are developing more diverse Romantasy books. Like, I'm going to say Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley. Basically, very similar to ACOTAR, but written by a woman of color. And it's a little more fun to me.
And ACOTAR is A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yes. Thank you.
I tried to read ACOTAR. I got 39 pages in exactly. And then I was like, I cannot read this.
Yeah. And I
got 28 pages into Fourth Wing. And then, I was just like, no.
I've read majority of Sarah's books through my teens and my early college years, and they're okay. And it's hard for me to, because everybody loves them. These are a lot of people's foray into reading, and I never want to judge somebody for how they get into reading.
I know someone that Fourth Wing made her a reader again for the first time since high school, and she's moved way, way on from that. But there is part of me that's like, well, professionally, people should read what they like. With my little professional hat on, and this is my work podcast.
Exactly.
You should read what you like. We are never, ever, I promise you, we are never judging you for coming in here.
I literally handed out one of the Hermione fanfic books that I ordered.
Yeah. And we want you to come here and use your library and to ask us for the books you want and to check out the books that you want. This is not, do not let this change that. This is about our personal literary tastes.
Exactly.
And like I said, I am genuinely thrilled. Like, I let my friend that Fourth Wing made her a reader again go on about this book
100%.
to me, and I was genuinely happy, I promise you, to listen to her, because it was so excited to watch her be excited about a book.
I won't poop on Sarah J. Maas unless you let me. Exactly. But it's just so interesting that these two women are the powerhouses of the genre, and it's brought it to such greater lengths. And I think it also has dealt with the pandemic as well, because romance was easy, it was escapism, and it's become this bigger thing. But it also, I feel like we have to look at the quickness. Something with Fourth Wing is the publisher who does that. They're kind of known for kind of rushing authors and pushing out romance. And I find that is kind of, that makes Romantasy look bad, is because they're trying to push out these bestsellers one after the other, and you can't do that. And so there's like different sects of Romantasy where there's the very quickly published stuff, but then there's the stuff that's actually good.
Like you've taken time.
Like,
And I'm sorry, please continue.
I have two questions.
No, yeah.
One of which is I definitely want to hear your recommendations for the stuff that is good, in your opinion. I also want to know what makes something, I have to say, I hear, Romantasy, I very rarely hear about the actual romance in it. Like, where is the...
I fear romance is used loosely for Romantasy, because I think it just means, not just means, but I feel like to classify it is where the romance is more overpowering than the fantastical plot, and there's often gratuitous and many plentiful sex scene. And it's more focused on the physical, emotional relationship of the two characters than it is of the actual world. So they're more worried about when they're going to bang than when they're going to take over the kingdom.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. This sounds, and I promise I cannot overstate the love with which I am saying this, like the Mary Sue self-insert fan fiction.
Yes.
That rewrote as children.
Self-insert is a whole thing with Romantasy.
And here's the thing, again.
I guess that I could get on my, I've been waiting for
do it, Ryan.
For my hater platform. And to be clear, when I say it's just me doing my usual rants, listener, I'm not actually telling you that Romantasy is bad. I just have thoughts. As a person who loves fantasy as much as I do, and loves romance as much as I do, despite the fact that I've taken a break from it, I should be one of the easiest people to sell Romantasy to. It's so true. Like I'm not always here for the most serious, I want the fully fleshed out like magic systems.
You once stayed up all night reading That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon.
No, truly, I blew through all of those books in a day, literally. Like, it's just, sometimes I'm just here for a good time. And, smut, no smut, I could literally go either way. My biggest issue with a lot of the most popular Romantasy that I see, and this is a very general industry-wide problem, and it's something that sort of ebbed and flowed in terms of getting better and then getting worse and then getting better again. And that is diversity in Romantasy, because people can conceive. I was joking with my friends about this, but I was just people can conceive of any magical creature with any number of appendages and make a relationship with said creature feasible, believable. But God forbid anyone in the story be darker than a paper bag or have any other sort of ethnicity or cultural upbringing. I can only take, and this is no offense to anyone with red hair, but I can only take so many redhead protagonists right now. They are actually killing me inside.
Well, so that one of the statistics that I love pointing out is that there are approximately statistically as many intersex people in the world as there are people with red hair. So where are my romances with intersex protagonists? We've hit the quota of red hair.
It's so, my friends will laugh at me because they're like, God, what do you have against redhead women? And I'm genuinely nothing in real life. But, the overabundance of representation of, white people in these fantasies, it makes them not entertaining. It makes them not appealing. I'm just oh my goodness, spunky girl who's not like other girls in her village, falls in love with evil, etc., king, fairy, demon, werewolf, vampire, etc.
I have to bring up a book. I don't think she has red hair. She's blonde. It's The Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. I had to read this book because I did an event with her, and she's very lovely. She's a lovely person. God, this book is bad.
You can be a lovely person and write books.
She did ask me, she's like, did you like it? And I lied to her face because I wasn't going to tell her I didn't like it.
And that's what you do in a book event.
This book, it's this girl who's like an orphan, lives under a bridge, but she finds out that she has these magical powers. She's actually a demigod. And these two guys she's in competition with start falling in love with her. And then these two other guys start falling in love with her.
God forbid someone have loving parents in normal friendship.
This is also where I wanted to get into my little soapbox about women's power fantasy. So when I say that it's like, like the Mary Sue self-insert fan fiction of our youth, and I say that as someone who wrote that fan fiction in high school, and I actually think
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a healthy part of Roddy.
You don't know what a Mary Sue is?
Roddy, you explain. I'm too busy crumbling into dust.
Oh, okay. So it's fine. I'm older anyway. So a Mary Sue. A Mary Sue is a character who is basically overly perfect, but she does not realize how perfect she is.
She's like the girl with the messy bun and the cropped flannel that her mom sells her to One Direction.
Cool. Probably like if she's dropped into the Lord of the Rings, she becomes the 10th Walker. She can sing as beautifully as the elves and fight as well with a sword as Aragorn. Boromir, Legolas, Aragorn, and Éomer are all in love with her, but who is she going to choose? And also she ends up splintering off with Frodo to take the ring to Mount Doom, and she drops it in and she helps him with the whole mission, and then in the end she marries one of the above and gets to go to the Undying Lands because she's just so great that the Vanir had to take her from planet Earth, our world, and drop her into Middle Earth to make sure that everything went well. And I've read at least 7 variations of that story.
Well, and when it's fan fiction, which again is something people do for free and for entertainment and as a means of self-expression in an online gift economy, is like for a lot of people who write fic, that's your basic step one moment of you're gonna do a bit of self-insert. Okay, I did that. Yes. And when people clown on that, especially in like these online spaces where it's like you put it on an archive of our own and maybe people read it and maybe they don't, but it's okay. Like it's part. I think that's wonderful actually, and self-expression is good.
I do also have to add, I don't know if you're about to go this way, but there has been, and not even has been, we also have to admit that some of the critique of Mary Sue as it stands is it's misogyny.
Oh, it's 100%. Definitely. Absolutely.
Just to get that out the way.
Yeah,
like
100%.
I know that I gave a very comical expression of it, but there used to be a Mary Sue test that you could take for your characters just to make sure they weren't too much of a Mary Sue. And honestly, looking back on what I remember of that test, it's like, God forbid a girl have hobbies.
Yes, no, God forbid girls have hobbies or want power. And see, in stories.
I've never heard of this term, but I am very well aware of it. Like I said, it's like the girl with the messy bun, the glasses, and her mom sells her to One Direction.
Yeah, which is very self-insert as well.
Yes, exactly.
And very often with Mary Sue's, it is like you are writing yourself into a story because who doesn't want Aragorn to be a little bit in love with them? Yeah. He's too sad for my taste, but I get it.
But the thing is, with the book I was talking about,
I like the horse guys.
all of the 4.
Yes. Well, so that's the thing.
The reverse harem is coming around.
Yes. Actually, yes.
That's the name of the trope. It's the name of the trope. Yes. It's not the best name for the trope, but it's the name of the trope.
And
Jeff made a face.
Is there something better to call it?
Everyone loves her. She's so powerful. She's so good. The story couldn't happen without her. She's constantly saving people, and it just kind of keeps going. And yes, to an extent, it was bad writing, but at the same time, these are. When you look back at how old you were when you were probably reading fan fiction, I'm going to be completely honest. My first foray into fan fiction, which was monitored by my older sister, was when I was in the 4th grade. Yeah. She would pre-screen whatever fics I wanted to read and tell me if it was appropriate.
My favorite thing about
you
this,
have a cool older sister.
Huh?
You have a cool older sister.
Yeah, she was also writing terrible Mary Sue insert fic.
Yeah,
so whenever I want to annoy her, I text her the title of her fanfic. Like, remember these days?
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's part of your God-given. Like, there's a reason people in real life don't know my archive of our own handle. I wrote some things that I'm not gonna delete because it's an archive. That's what it's for. But also, like, nobody needs to know about that. But the thing that I want to say about, you know, the reason that I have affection for this quote unquote terrible self-insert Mary Sue fanfic that I don't really give the same pass to in traditionally published books is that traditionally published books cost me at this point like 35 United States dollars.
Yeah.
And I'm torn between, some of it is personal taste. I don't personally enjoy it. I think people who are having a good time, go on, have a good time. Simultaneously, I think that it's important for us to, I mean, along the lines of like, why is nobody here darker than a paper bag? It's important for us to examine, why is this popular? Why is it all these white girls? And why is much of it, and I know it's not, and I'll let you talk, you know, because I know it's not all, I know that there is good stuff out there and that there is much, you know, more diversity in it, which happens as things kind of get big and balloon. But interestingly, a part of the whenever men start to criticize romantasy, I immediately am like, cease speaking. Because
they don't get an opinion.
That's the thing, is that I'm like, this is so much of this genuinely is women's power fantasy that I'm like, no. I'm worried you are about to criticize this for misogynist reasons because these books are about women having power and sex.
I think this goes back to like our first romance meeting where it's like, you're not being an informed hater, you're just hating us because we're women.
Exactly. I'm here to be an informed hater and Emma's here to tell me which books are good.
Yeah, I will say I have to tell you about this ending. So she ends up being like the embodiment of Hercules. Her parents are Hades and Persephone.
And she's blonde.
Sorry,
and she's blonde.
Sorry.
No. And when that happened, when I read that, I was like, I'm sorry.
So the Greeks just mean nothing anymore.
No,
do they?
the whole Greek
this is actually
system.
We'll have to
it's Greek mythology, but it's set in the future.
Sure.
So it's like apocalyptic Greek mythology, but incorrect.
We're gonna have to, Jeff, do an entirely separate episode about specifically Greek myth retellings, because my truest condolences to all of the Greeks out there. People in this particular case are not taking
there's a whole subgenre of Hades and Persephone romantasy.
Yeah.
And this is not a part of it.
No. I just think if that were actually like my culture that had like rooted real religious history.
Well, we did graphic novel book club a few months ago, and Lore Olympus was our pick, and there was some discussion of how, do you think this is like religious appropriation?
I don't think it's religious appropriation necessarily, but I just think about like, dang, you know, people still live in Greece.
Greek people are real.
That is their actual culture.
Do people still live in Greece? But last I checked, the mysteries, aka I'm using this word very like traditional sense of the word, but like some of the cults that practice these religions are finding themselves coming back. So there are still small sects of like practitioners. But I am not immune to the Hades Persephone.
Neither am I.
Bro, but let me say something, because some things have changed. I just very generally enjoy Death and the Maiden. This is something that Mary Graham and I have talked about. Yeah. It is one of my favorite tropes.
Everyone can read Winter
Hades and Persephone are the embodiment of that. However, when I read The Palace of Eros earlier this year, that book, I have always had like various like misgivings in one direction or another about Hades and Persephone, but there's a conversation that takes place in that book between Eros and Demeter that completely like I can't even fully enjoy Hades and Persephone retellings the way I used to, and I just keep seeing things that just reinforce, because the main issue I have with Hades and Persephone retellings is that they choose most often to villainize her mother.
Oh, 100%.
Mostly just wanting to protect and keep her daughter safe, which if you know anything about Persephone's father, and how he likes to act, that is more than valid. In fact, that's just her being one of the few good parents in Greek mythology. But I don't want to get too far off topic. But yes, I do agree. We need to talk about Greek retellings.
And we'll talk about this when we do get there. But so many people think they want Hades and Persephone, and what they want is Eros and Psyche.
No, truly. Please read The Palace of Eros, by the way. It was beautiful. I cried.
Or alternatively, Katie Robert has an entire series called the Dark Olympus series where each pairing is some form of Greek mythology matchup. And I love Katie Robert. Katie Robert is fantastic. She does a lot of really good queer matchups. She does thruples. She does 5 people all together, which took me a second to understand. Yeah. But her
Think
books
of
are
the charts you must have to have in front of you when you're writing those scenes.
100%. And because I can't remember which one it was that had the 5 people, but I was like, all right, I got to sit back and I have to like plot it out.
A lot of limbs happening.
It's a lot of limbs in a lot of places. But
I do have to say The Dragon's Bride was pretty solid. And the
her
concept
monster romance is so good.
Yeah, the concept behind The Dragon's Bride was actually pretty damn solid, I have to say. I think that's the only one that I read, though.
Yeah, her monster series is like fairy tale retellings ever so slightly. And I think the first one, but they're all like these women who are sold at auction, which sounds horrifying. But then they all fall in love with these like lovely, there's a dragon, there's a kraken, there is a gargoyle, regular old demon, and I feel like I'm missing...
Garden variety.
Hey, nothing was more surprising than like the kraken though. That was crazy, but like it wasn't. It was good.
I know about the tentacle people out there. That one's for you, darlings.
Exactly.
I have a couple that I need to read that I would like to read. One was very, very popular on the Clock app, but it was called I Accidentally Summoned a Demon Boyfriend. Her marketing for that has been very funny.
I feel like I've seen
a diverse one. And then there's also one that's been also on my radar, but before the Clock app. I'm trying to remember where I saw it, but it's called The Grim Reaper's Lawyer.
I'm listening.
I don't remember why he needs a lawyer. I don't know what happened, but I'm curious.
Have you met people these days? Do you know how eager everyone is to sue? The decline, the decline in community feeling since COVID, Roddy. No wonder the man needs a lawyer.
But I have a question for you. There's 2 romantasy adjacent books that I want to know if you've heard anything about.
Yes, I'm all ears.
This is turning into a Q&A, but have you heard of Tusk Love?
Yes, and I want to read it so bad. I have it here at the library.
I've been on the hold queue for it forever. Mary Graham, the biggest sell for me for this book is that it's a romance set in Dungeons and Dragons world.
It's like Critical Role, yeah.
Yeah, like Critical Role Dungeons and Dragons.
And the thing is, the fun thing about the author, Thea Guanzon.
Oh, I've seen the cover.
Yeah. So she also wrote The Hurricane Wars, which, fun fact, Raylo fanfiction. And that's also something I'm interested in reading. I hate Star Wars. I'm the biggest Star Wars hater. Everybody come after me for it.
I'm a hater of fan fiction with the serial numbers filed off. If those serial numbers can be filed off, how strong was the fanfic to begin with? I also oppose Raylo on general principles because it should have been Finn, but
and that's fair.
I know, Roddy. I know.
I'm gonna get into the Star Wars.
I know,
but I have thoughts. I have feelings. But I do want to read Tusk Love because I was like, finally, like Dungeons and Dragons, such an untapped world of like,
romance. Yeah,
romance.
She's a merchant's daughter, and then what is he?
I think he's half orc.
Yep, that's it.
The second one is one that I just find the premise to be hilarious, especially as a former horse girl.
Oh dear.
But it's called
Behooved. Behooved. Okay.
Mary Graham. I know that was a crazy way to segue.
I've also seen the cover for this one.
Okay.
But I don't know the premise.
Okay.
To be clear, nothing happens while he's a horse. absolutely nothing happens while he's a horse.
No.
Which was my hard line. But I did not decide that I wanted to read it until someone was like, absolutely nothing happens while he's a horse. Because I was like,
No, that was also my line because I read this 2 months ago for a book club. And so if you read My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand and Company, this is like the grown-up version of that.
I did not about My Lady Jane. I was not aware that and I remember when this book came out, and I haven't read it, but I also when they because they made it into a TV series, and I think Anna Chancellor's in it. I love Anna Chancellor. I was like, maybe I'll finally give this a spin. And then someone told me, they were like, have you gotten to the horse shapeshifters? And I was like, I need to sit down. I had no
crazy.
idea. It was like nothing about the marketing of either the book or the show led me to believe that this was anything other than a very lightly held historical fiction.
Yeah, no, I will say.
No, it's just, did you read the premise of Behooved, Mary Graham?
No.
Behooved is
Okay,
this.
I'll explain it to you. Basically, they are in an arranged marriage. I'm going to explain it to you as a person who doesn't know much about it, because it just makes it
And
more
then
fun
I'll
that
take
way.
my turn afterwards.
Okay. As far as I know, there are two people in an arranged marriage, don't really have particular feelings towards each other. It's their wedding day or night, and there's an assassination attempt that goes wrong and leaves him magically transformed into a horse. And she's like, we gotta go. So she does what any normal person would do in that situation, and like literally they ride away to safety. But he turns back into a human at night.
Yes, at night he turns into a human.
That's when
Okay,
sexy
and
times
then
happen,
that's
Robbie,
when
so
they-
that's when it has to be.
Yeah, and then that's when they're like talking and actually getting to know each other and fall in love while they try to figure out what happened. And I think she's also on the run because they think she did it.
They think she killed him because they couldn't find him because he's a horse.
You know what? Okay, so this, and I'm eager to hear what Emma has to say, especially since you've read it. This is actually so classical fairy tale that I'm totally into it. The whole like animal bridegroom, but like there is
a tavern
comes
scene.
to his senses and is human at night. Like, I ate that up with a spoon as a kid.
I also just really like men who turn into things, but not in like a weird way. Because part, he's literally
Put that on a t-shirt.
He's
Put
literally
that
a sword.
into a t-shirt.
But yeah, so very good. I couldn't wait to bring this up when I was like, oh, let me go check my TBR, because I was like, I cannot wait to see Mary Graham's face if she hasn't heard anything
Mary
about this
Graham's
book.
face is
Because
surprisingly full of
fact the
delight.
matter is that I heard about this book, wiped it from my memory, because I was like, turning into a horse, that's weird. I'm sorry. To be clear, listener, weird for me, knowing what happens in romance books. I was like, I have a hard line. I too like Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron as a
Who doesn't?
but also like, please. But then someone was like, nothing happens while he's a horse, do not worry. And I was like, okay, it's going on my TBR.
But the
then.
riding puns are aplenty.
So
Oh my.
yeah, I bet you all forgot Jeff was here. So Emma, what was your review?
I gave it 4 stars because I just had a very lovely time.
That's the important thing.
And here's the thing: there is a lot of just like they're traveling in the woods, and they're like the plot is not like super heavy, which I also
I love
appreciate.
a road trip. We love a road trip story.
One thing I do also appreciate that I don't think I've seen so heavily focused on. So it's like medieval. She has celiac disease. They don't call it that.
Oh.
But she talks about her tummy troubles, and I love a good tummy trouble representation in a book as someone who suffers from the tummy
I feel
troubles.
so seen.
Yeah, so she like deals with her tummy troubles, and she tries to like hide them because her parents make her feel like that's a weakness. And there is a moment where he's like, let me help you figure out what's wrong.
She's in the Middle Ages and doesn't know that she shouldn't eat bread.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And so but there's like definitely those moments where he's like, let me help you feel better. Like, let me help. And she's not used to that.
Guys, I just found my weekend reading.
I believe
I'm excited.
Michelle purchased it, so we have it.
Oh yeah, you do. I was checking. It's on the shelf right now. It's under
know where Mary Graham's going after this.
SFF Stevenson. It's in the science fiction and fantasy, which makes me wonder if the romance might be more of a subplot or if it's just.
So They do it. It's not a lot, but also, so fun fact about the Ferndale Area District Library science fiction and romance sections. Romance section coming
Coming soon to a Ferndale library near you.
Yeah. It depends on who gets it first. So Michelle and I kind of.
And who has money in the budget?
Yes, it also depends on who has money in the budget. Like Michelle just bought Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, which our processor Sam then processes romance because the tag fell off. And I was like, Michelle, this could go really either way. They're canoodling on the inside cover of the dust jacket, and she's like, yeah, you can take it.
A step back. It's like the old days.
It is like the olden days. And so whether it's in fantasy or romance doesn't always have like bearing on whether it's more romantasy or fantasy. Sometimes it just matters on whether it's me or Michelle who buys it. And Michelle got that one because that was before I could start buying for romance, I think, because I only started doing that in July because that's when we made the budget for it.
I didn't read the second one. Even though I own it, I'll get around to it at some point. But of another fantasy with a romantic subplot, which I think has a redhead lead, but whatever, I enjoyed it. It was called For the Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
I got into that one when I was really deep in my if there's a retelling, I want to own it phase. So I enjoyed the first book when I read it. It was a really cool take on Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. Very, very loosely related, though. Diverse cast of characters, interesting magic system, and there is a sequel that I own that I will maybe read someday.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't been at the top of my list. But that had a really solid romantic subplot to it.
I also want to shout out another diverse kind of romantasy, and it's called Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabrana.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a Black main character. She's got like, I think her childhood best friend. I remember reading it. She works in a library and there's like a montage of her cataloging. And I was like, God, I want this. It is me. Like,
Hashtag representation matters.
Exactly. I was like, oh my God, she's doing library stuff. I loved it. But it was really good. And it's also a duology. Lore of the Tides is the second one. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, but that was another one I wanted to shout out because it felt correct.
You guys, I am accidentally reading a quasi fantasy with a romantic subplot, and I'm only reading it for the romantic subplot
What's
at
it
this
called?
point.
What are you reading?
Jeff, come on. Jeff, tell us.
It's called The Starving Saints
Oh, yes. It's got pink on the cover, right?
by Caitlin Starling.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
didn't she do The Death of Jane Lawrence?
Yes.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Yay. Oh, that's so exciting.
A three-way sapphic love triangle
I was gonna be, isn't this like Cannibal Nuns?
between a knight and a sorceress and a serving girl, and there is cannibal nuns.
Who
Yes.
doesn't love a cannibal nun?
So it's more horror than anything else,
I'm
but
going to
there's
revisit that book because it's also set in a medieval-esque situation,
Yeah.
which I was very excited about because listen.
Roddy's
Okay,
a
the
safe space.
hygiene is nothing to speak to, so we're not talking about that aspect.
No,
but God,
people
can
also
we-
washed. People washed back then.
Maybe.
Yes,
No,
they did.
Jeff, they washed.
Not so much in this situation, Mary Graham, because they're under siege.
Okay,
and
I take it
it's
back.
bad.
I take it back.
But
You don't wash when you're under siege.
I was supposed to say, who can take a
love
bath
a
in this
good
time?
medieval situation.
Yes.
Like I'm just like, please.
I
Like,
just watched Monty Python the Holy Grail again. And I
Yes.
was like, I just want people out there writing books.
Give me Monty Python.
Go watch Monty Python, which is deeply funny to well-trained medievalists because all of the jokes are actually inside jokes about the Middle Ages. But then also read Chaucer and like the weird sex stuff that's going on there, and write the weirdest sex stuff you can think. It will be at home in the Middle Ages, I promise you.
I'm going to say something. I know we're getting towards time, and I always decide to say something right at the end.
Roddy's like, here's the
But-
grenade I am about to lob.
I just want, out of romantic fantasy and romantasy, I would like us to move past capitalism. And you're like, Roddy, what does that mean? And I'm just like, I don't need the love interest to be a king. I don't need him to be a lord. I don't need him to
He
be
can just
some
be a guy.
all-powerful. Huh?
He could just be a guy.
He could just be. Did you know that if a regular guy turns into a dragon, he's still going to be hot if he has to go to work or like earn a living? It's just, and don't get me wrong, I understand that when we want to escape to a world where all of our problems can be resolved and all of our needs can be met and we can be taken care of. But there is an, I'm going to refer to her as a philosopher that I really liked named Tressie, who wrote a book named Thick. And I sent Mary Graham some clips of this because she was currently on a panel where she was talking about like, why are there billionaires in romances?
And she was right about everything.
Why is this like, she was specifically talking about cowboy romances, but you know, I'm just going to apply this to everything. And she said something that really spoke to me, where it says how much we limit our perception of women by only wanting them to be in romances where they can immediately be taken care of, and any agency that they may or may not have revolves around whether or not someone will be able to take care of them. And I just think that especially in romantic fantasy and romantasy, we can explore beyond the wealthy king, demon lords, etc., and just have stories that actually speak to a general, I don't know, you just don't need money to fall in love. People do it without money all the damn time. Like, come on.
I'm thinking about one of my favorite YA romances of the past couple years is in Laura E. Weymouth's A Consuming Fire, which we did do an episode about where we got to talk to her. It was fantastic. And the love interest in that book is literally like a ragtag thief with knives. He's a knife thrower. And it was so hot. I love that guy and his knives.
This isn't a romantasy, but I have a contemporary YA romance in which the love interest is a TikTok dancer, a high school boy doing TikTok dances. And there's a moment where this girl's trying to get her ex-boyfriend back by fake dating him, but they're at this park, and he does one of his little TikTok dances to Treat You Better by Shawn Mendes. And in that moment, it's just beautiful.
Wow.
I know there is a teenager somewhere who that scene in that book has become the most important moment.
That is the boombox outside the.
It's truly, that is a canon event. And I love that for whatever kid that worked for.
It's from You Started by Jackie Kalia. That's probably not. I have it written down. For some reason in my brain, I can never pronounce it correctly. And it's so beautiful, and it means so much to me.
More normal people in romance. 2K25. Oh, yeah. Jeff, for episode 5, we should come with like our little wish lists.
Let's do it.
For more stuff we'd like to see in romance.
Gotcha.
We'll be closer to the first romance book club, which
I
could talk about for a second.
Stay tuned. And then we'll also do a horror episode, Roddy. Stay tuned.
Yay. Thank you.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, you guys. Emma.
All right.
If anybody hasn't been watching the Ferndale Area District Library socials, our very first romance book club was announced. It is October 7th at 6:30 over across the street at Love and Other Books. We are reading Best Text Ever by Nadia Elfasi.
Yes.
Copies will be on hold here. I believe it's available on Libby, maybe Hoopla. I have not checked that one yet. It's got a very cute cover, very perfect for the autumnal season. And I haven't gotten a chance to, we just announced it a few days ago. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, but I'm really excited because it's been on my watch list for a hot second.
I'm so excited for you. Roddy, final thoughts?
I like talking about this with you guys. I always have some.
I love talking about this, and I got to pod back to back today, so I feel like I'm basically
You've talked for 2 hours.
NPR host. So thank you, Jeff, for making my dreams come true.
It's also just nice to talk about these genres with people who I'm sorry if you guys can hear locks in the background, but
He's a
it's
good
really
boy.
a pleasure to talk about this genre with people who not only enjoy it and respect it, and because they enjoy it and respect it, can also critique it. So I always feel like I leave our podcast about romance, liking romance even more than I came in liking it.
I also
because of
come away with so many more books I need
Oh
to
my
read.
God, me too. I'm so behind.
Yeah.
Jeff, final thoughts?
I'm excited to finish Starving Saints, and I'll keep you guys posted. And I put a hold on the Irregular Witches.
Marvelous. Can't wait
And
for
I
you to
also
read that
put
so we can
a
discuss.
hold on the Reformatory, or whatever the heck that was, Roddy.
The scary book. Yeah, it's freaking me out.
So,
Jeff, you should read the horse book.
and-
No, not. But I'm on my way to get the horse book right now. He can read it after me. But you've gone and done it. You've spent another hour listening to A Little Too Quiet, the Ferndale Library podcast. It's brought to you by the Friends of the Ferndale Library. Thank you to John Duffy for the music that opens and closes each episode. Thank you also to the Ferndale Friends for getting us all of our startup equipment and just generally being a beautiful, beautiful presence.
future guests.
Future guests. If you go, hey, these Ferndale Friends sound pretty cool, which they are, you can go to ferndalefriends.org to learn how to join up with them. Become a regular. We'd love to see you around.
Love it.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.